I'll be shooting this from several different locations. I'll talk about several different subjects. Of course, Ebola is still a threat out there. It's the information on it's being controlled. Supposedly the New York doctor who was quarantined has been pronounced free of the disease, which begs the question, why aren't they using the procedures to identify the virus if someone actually has it? Developing the symptoms is one thing, but apparently even the military has a device that will actually determine whether or not you're infected. So there are a lot of things going on with this that just aren't making any sense. I can tell you that my doctor friend is still very concerned. He has not seen any people whisked away, because where he's working there haven't been any cases or anyone even stating that they are, but he's watching it profession-wide the best he can. But it's certainly not time to say that we're out of the woods on this. So that's the first thing. The second is, if you've been watching the New York Times and some of the alternative media, not so much the mainstream, apparently it's only being mentioned in the New York Times at this point, there is a hacker by the name of I guess it's Guccifer, something like that. I'm not really sure. He's a Romanian, and his hacking has been done over a number of years, and he's in prison now. But what he found out, I suppose, came true. For instance, Bush's artwork, I guess some contact with a female individual that Colin Powell had, things like that have been verified. And I want to take you back to about a year and a half ago or so, when Bundys Air Force Base was found to be transporting what apparently were nuclear weapons without the proper paperwork. And then a few days later, Lindsey Graham said that there was going to be a nuclear weapon set off in Charleston Harbor in South Carolina. So, you know, even a United States Senator is getting involved in this, and he was doing it for fear-mongering, of course, but there was apparently a tie-in there, and we may have actually stopped something, the alternative media, by bringing these things up. So at any rate, we have this situation with Bundys Air Force Base, the missing nukes, and the continuing relief of Air Force officers and generals in the nuclear weapons program. And by and large, a lot of senior officers and generals being relieved who are not going along, I suppose, with the litmus test of the administration of the powers that be. One of the litmus tests being how they will react to gunning down Americans. And of course, the administration is saying it's loss of faith in these officers, but probably in a way that you and I would not use that in our normal parlance. So we have that going on, and now this New York Times article with Guccifer saying that there's going to be a nuclear detonation sometime during 2015 in Chicago. Well, you know, we may have averted the situation in South Carolina by bringing this up. You know, that could have been extremely destructive with a tidal wave and some other things, who knows where, if in fact that was going to happen at all. But the circumstances suggest that it was going to happen, especially with Senator Graham saying what he said just a day after this Bundys Air Force Base thing occurred. So now with Guccifer, I imagine it's Guccifer, bringing this up, those missing weapons, if indeed they are missing, begs the question, of course, well, is it going to happen? So I'm putting this out as information. Most of you are probably already aware of it. You've seen it on other alternative media. Alex Jones in particular, whose investigation staff is extremely good. But I just wanted to bring that up, and we'll talk about some more things here. And in a noisy place, you get that when you're in the urban areas and suburban areas. I apologize for the background noise. I wanted to get to this ongoing criminal racketeering enterprise debacle called Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act. And if you've been watching this, you should be watching the congressional hearings on it, finding out all the horrible stuff this thing is done and is doing to people. Rates getting ready to go up, penalties getting ready to go up, the fact that you can't get the coverage that you need. You can't get the care that you need. The fact that your privacy is violated. I saw one interview with, I guess the lady, and I'm sorry, I forget her name, who was supposedly got $300 million with their company for designing this thing and didn't even know that it invaded your privacy. That basically you're told when you sign up for Obamacare, you waive all your rights to privacy. Holy cow. You know, a direct violation of HIPAA, and the congressman or the senator, whoever was interviewing her at the time, pointed that out. But now we have this situation also where we've got a situation with this guy by the name of Jonathan Gruber at the University of Pennsylvania, I believe, where he's basically said that the lack of transparency in the whole scenario of getting Obamacare passed was the only way that they could do it, that they had to lie to the American people because the American people are too stupid to decide on this for themselves. So, you know, initially the media tried to keep a hold on that. The University of Pennsylvania tried to say it was a copyright, that we couldn't put that out because it violated their copyright status. A lot of bullshit, frankly. I don't usually use four-letter words, but I have to, because this thing is a racketeering job by the government, the insurance agencies, and the powers that be. Obviously. Okay, well, you know how I feel about that. Please go check that out. If this doesn't make you angry, I don't know what will. The government deliberately lying to you and having people like this architect, Jonathan Gruber, admitting to it. Okay, and the last thing I'd like to talk about on this is the ongoing problem in Nevada and across the nation, actually, with the Agenda 21 of the UN and the powers that be and China basically taking the land away, the land of your inheritance away from you for partially for payment of these dumb fraudulent derivatives that came out in 2008 and onward. So this is a major problem. It hasn't been receiving a whole lot of attention lately, but things are heating up again in Nevada, as you are probably aware. And this is not going to end well for anyone. It's not going to end well for the feds. It's not going to end well for the people in Nevada. It's not going to end well for the people that are standing up and saying, look, government, you've got to stop these encroachments in the name of foreign powers and corporations. And that's really what this is about. So let me tell you what's happening. You probably already know that the President Obama has signed or is going to sign away all of this property in southern Nevada and make it an environmentally protected area of some sort. So basically it's round two of what was happening before, and they're just going to try to do it a different way. I don't know whether they'll send large numbers of agents there. It's possible. But what I want to tell you about is something I do know. Brand Thornton, if you remember him, he went to a supposedly public input meeting with the BLM in Clark County, Nevada, in Las Vegas actually, and found out that it's not an input at all. Of course it isn't. You know, it never is. If you want to have input, you can't talk in the meeting there. You have to write it down, send an email, or do something like that. They won't have a discussion with you at the meeting. So what kind of a public input is this? Totally controlled, of course. They don't want other people to hear what's being said. It's very easy to understand. You have a meeting and people voice their opinions, and those opinions are a problem for the establishment because the establishment knows that other people hear that and say, oh yeah, that's right. So they don't want that public forum. So they basically shut it down. Worse than that, there were BLM agents there, one of whom had been at the Bundy Ranch and glared at Brand throughout the entire meeting. These people that are in the BLM, if they are Americans, they are disgusting. They violate any oath of office that they've taken to the Constitution, and I'm not even sure they're doing that. But I still suspect that from the description of this guy and what is still happening, that he is in fact not American, and if he is, he should be ashamed of himself. But knowing that the Israelis and others train these groups, and that's the tactics that we saw, those are the tactics that we saw at Bundy Ranch. The intimidation, the beating up of people, the false arrests, yes, false arrests, claiming to arrest them and then setting them loose after they're in jail for a day or two, you know, never charging them. Anyway, the snipers on the hills over men and women and children setting up tables, all of this, you know, the soldiers prepared for war against the American people, not Smokey the Bear Rangers, okay? The tactics, the combat warlike tactics. Okay, so Brand goes to this thing, and there are about 100 supporters of not necessarily the Bundys, but the idea of getting the BLM out of this business. And this agent was glaring at him, and Brand knows which one he is. I don't have a picture of him, so I don't know, but I think I can recall from the pictures that I saw which one this guy is. So at any rate, the point is, the intimidation is still there. This is still going to happen, and the states need to stand against the federal government. Well, we're going to have, 1860 again? Well, I hope not. But at the same time, we cannot permit, the states cannot permit the federal government to get away with this. It's racketeering at another level. It's their lies. Talk about lack of transparency. They're not telling you the truth. Obama's over there in China, has made all kinds of agreements on the environment, on coal-fired plants, etc., etc. What input did you have? What input did you have at all to say, no, we don't want you doing that? And it's not just Obama. Remember, he's a front. Now, I didn't like Bush. I think everybody knows that. I could go on and on and on. The point is that this thing in Nevada is going to be a central firing point on this land issue again. State legislators in Nevada. You probably don't listen to this, but anybody who's in Nevada hears this. You need to understand that you have got to get the governor and your National Guard and your people to stand against this tyranny, this stretching of the Enabling Act of your state to mean what it never meant. You're going to lose everything if you don't stop these people. So, Brand gave a news interview afterwards and stated that, there were militia people ready to start up again if this thing happens. And I just want to say this, and Brand has not, I haven't talked to Brand about this, but I want to tactically explain this, okay? Be very careful. There are other ways to handle this now rather than trying to confront these guys head on in Nevada. Just think about that. Obviously, going to meetings doesn't work. Obviously, the ballot doesn't work. Obviously, the Senate and the Congress don't do their job to control these out-of-control criminal racketeering agencies. So the people do have to do it. But think it through. Again, the real strength in this is if the state legislatures stand up with the governors and say no, if need be, under force of arms. The states. The people can't do that. Not this time. At least not in the normal way that the things happen. Certainly not the way it happened at Bundy Ranch before. There were prayers made to God at that time by the Bundys to protect them, and by other people such as Brand and myself, and probably many, many more, asking God to reach down and protect that family from being murdered by the federal government. We were responding to protecting that family, not even really the land at that point. I mean, if you think about it. So, being run by evil, satanic forces, they are going to change. They may not at all endanger the Bundy family directly at this point. I'm not saying they won't. But knowing how they think and how they operate, they'll do something much more, I should say, much less confrontational, at least in the beginning, but they will take that land. And it probably is still going to the Chinese, okay? Oh, we're worried about it, the BLM says, because of the turtle, and because of this court order that the turtle is so important. But they're going to build a solar farm there, which would also, cause more problems than having farms there, right? So the rationale doesn't make sense. These tree huggers are out of their minds. Oh, almost slipped there. All right? It's wrong. People are more important than anything else. Anyway, so now, they're making an environmentally protected area. Well, don't you think for a moment that land isn't going to be turned over to the Chinese in payment of debt. And the Congress talks, or the Constitution talks about being able to sell public lands in the payment of government debt, but not in this manner. That's not what it meant. I guess we'll have to argue that one out in court if we ever can. But I just want to let you know that this thing is firing up again, and it's looking real bad. So we'll keep our eyes and ears on it. We'll keep our ears to the ground, our eyes on the horizon.